right, so let's go ahead and get started with lesson 7-2, day 1. We're going to talk about complementary and supplementary angles. So we see that this angle here, this is called angle DBA, or you could call it ABD, but you couldn't call it ADB or BD. So in other words, the one in the middle has to be in the middle. So this is angle ABD. And if you're confused with the angle symbol and the less than symbol in math books, the angle symbol has that vertex lower down there, kind of on the line, whereas the less than has it kind of in the middle of the line like that. So that's how you know the difference between those two. So this whole angle, the whole thing has a little box on there, which means 90 degrees. So what we have is we have two angles. We have angle ABC, or this angle from here to here. And then we have angle CBD. Can you think of another name for angle CBD? You know another name for it? And that would be angle DBC, right? As long as you put the vertex or that middle point right there in the middle, then it's correct. Okay, so we have those two angles. One of them is 28 degrees. The other one, we don't know exactly how big it is, but we know that it's 2 times x degrees, or 2 times some number. But I know that this angle and this angle together means plus, right? This angle together, they both add up to 90 degrees because they're what we call complementary angles. And complementary angles are angles that add up, that add up to 90 degrees. And we know that from that symbol right there. That means 90 degrees. So we can just write an equation, add those guys up to make it equal 90 degrees. And we'll go ahead and solve this now. Separate our left from our right side of our equation. And to figure out what x is, we isolate x. So we work farthest away from x first. I do the opposite of positive 28, so I subtract 28. I can do it if it's an equation, as long as I do it to both sides, because it's still equal or still balanced, because I did it to both sides, didn't I? So I got 12x. If I take away 28 from that there, you can grab your calculator if you want, or you can just do it real quick, 62. And then divide by the coefficient, cross out your ones, and we got x is 31. So that's the value of x. Now, that doesn't mean this angle right here is 31 degrees. It means it's 2 times x, or 2 times 31. So this angle down here is actually 62 degrees. And if this one's 62 and this one's 28, 28, this one's 28, together they should add up to 90. And since they do, it means we did it right. We just talked about complementary angles. What do we do though if the two angles together, this angle right here and this angle over here together, if they make a line instead of a box or a 90-degree angle? What if they make a line? What are those called? So these are called supplementary angles. They're not called complementary angles. So we all know that if you make an angle, a straight angle that goes all the way across, that's 180 degrees, right? Instead of 90 degrees. So it's a 90 and another 90 to make a line or a straight angle. Now, when you take two angles and put them together to make a line, they're called supplementary angles. So since these two will make a line when we put them together, and one of them is 123, and the other one is 3 times x, we don't know what x is yet, but I know together they are supplementary angles. So I can write an equation and solve for x. Then that's what we need to do for this problem. So we work farthest away from the variable, doing inverse operations, and I subtract 123 from both sides. And on the left side, I have 3x. Those cross out. And subtract these two. I get what, 57? I better check that because I messed up last time and I'm not thinking very clearly here. So, yeah, it looks like 57. Should we double check with a calculator? I'm having one of those days where I'm just saying stuff that's not right. Oh, okay, I did. I got something right. So that's good. Now we're going to divide both sides by the coefficient. And 57 divided by 3, 57 divided by 3. 3 goes into 5 one time, and 3 goes into 27 19 times. So x is 19. Now, does that mean that this is 19 degrees? And hopefully you said no, it's 3x, which is 3 times 19 or 57 degrees. And this should add up to what, since they are supplementary angles? And the answer is they should add up to 180. So that would be a great way to check our work, right? Especially with a calculator, you can do that real quick. I got 10, carry the 1, equals 180. I know I did it right because lines or straight angles are 180. All right. I want you guys to pause the video and try this problem on your own. Find x. So hopefully you wrote your equation like this, since they are supplementary angles, not complementary, right? I don't see that little box. Instead, I see a straight line. So together, they add up to 180. So how do we figure out what x is? We solve the equation. We isolate the variable. We work farthest away first, not closest away first. And then I'll go ahead and subtract these two here. That's a degree symbol. So 10 take away 5 is 5. And 3 and 135. Divide both sides by 3. And x, cross out my ones, right? X equals 135 divided by 3. Yes, you can grab your calculator. Almost just as fast to do it without, though. 15 goes in 45. So now, does that mean this angle is 45? And I hope by now you're saying no. That means x is 45. So if x is 45, what's that angle? And the answer would be 135, because 135 and 45 together add up to 180. And they should add up to 180 because they make a straight line, or they are supplementary. And I'm sorry, it's so hard to draw a straight line with this tablet. I'm just still not good at it. Okay. So I want you guys, now the answer to that was what was x though, correct? It wasn't what was that angle. So the answer would have been, let's see where we're at here. It would have been 45. Okay, so let's go ahead and pause the video and do the next problem, please. So again, you see that this angle right here and this angle right here together make a straight line, or 180 degrees. So they are what we call supplementary to each other. So I take one, which is represented by the expression 6x degrees, or 6 times some number degrees, plus the other one's just 60 degrees, flat, just 60 degrees, nothing to multiply to get it. Together they add up to 180. And how do we solve this equation? We work farthest away from the variable first, subtract 60 from both sides, and we get 6x equals, it looks like 120, divide by the coefficient, the number in front of the variable, and we get x equals, let's see, let's go out to the side. Yep, you can grab a calculator, and yep, I know some of you in your head, you know that's 20 off the top of your head, that's fine. So we should get 20. Now, let me just check real quick. If it's 20, 6 times 20 should be 6 times 2 is 12 with a 0, so it should be 120. 120 and 60 should add up to 180 if I did it right. And they do, but make sure you don't put 120 as the answer. Our directions were to find x, right? Wasn't that our directions up here? Find x. Okay, and last one for the day. You guys pause the video and tell me what's x for this problem. So taking a look at this problem, I see that these are not supplementary. They are, what's that called again? I hope you said complementary, right? Complementary angles. That means they add up to 90 instead of 180. How do we know? Because instead of making a straight line, they have a little box. They'll tell you with the little box in there, right? So that means that angle 2x degrees plus angle 40 degrees have to add up to 90 this time, not 180. But we solve it the same way. It's a two-step equation. And what's 50 divided by 2? Hopefully you said x was 25. Now, if x is 25 and I multiply it by 2, this whole angle would be 50. And 50 and 40 make 90. So we know we did it right. All right. So that's it for today. we will see you guys soon.